The inside story on the issues that affect you and your community. This is Local 12 Newsmakers.
My NKY is living the dream and having a great product.
My NKY is diversity.
Historic and innovative.
My NKY isn't just where I work, it's my home.
It's open to people of all colors, of all creeds.
A place where there's hope for children.
My NKY is popping. Let's rip that.
Good morning and welcome to Local 12 Newsmakers. I'm Dan Hurley. Over the first 6 months of 2014, over 11,000 Northern Kentuckians engaged in a process of visioning for the future of what they want. My NKY has been a highly engaging process designed to help people of every background articulate their realistic and aspirational goals for their community. For those who need a quick definition of Northern Kentucky, here it is. By two of the co-chairs of the My Northern Kentucky effort. Geoffrey Mearns is the fifth president of Northern Kentucky University, and Sharlmili Reddy is the planning manager at Northern Kentucky Area Planning Commission. Both of you, welcome back to Newsmakers. This is a process that's been going on and actually formally started early this year, but I'm sure the planning stages were back in 2013 or maybe even before. When you have an organization called Vision 2015, you know that you got to do something. So this has been going on. Where are we right now with this process, Jim?
Well, we've just concluded the process of gathering a lot of input from the community, and I think Sharlmili is going to talk a little bit about that process and the number of responses that we received. So you're not finished with this, but you're finished with the input section? Is that fair?
That's right, Dan. We had the public engagement phase of My NKY from January through June of this year, and that's where we received the 11,000 inputs that you talked about. And it was primarily through an online poll where people were asked to invest $1 million in 5 different buckets. And it was housing, education, jobs, transportation, and health. And interestingly enough, you know, the two that came on the top were jobs and
education.
And education, sorry. Yes.
Okay, we'll come back to all of those details in a minute. Now, Northern Kentucky's been at this for a long time. I mean, this builds on Vision 2015, which built on Forward Quest, which actually built on some earlier processes. Why is it, do you think, that Northern Kentucky has been able to do this? And it's really been a leader in the United States in this kind of visioning, community-wide, community-based, strategic planning process. Why do you think Northern Kentucky's been able to pull this off?
Well, I'm relatively new to the area. As you know, I've been here about 2 years. I think what has impressed me is a recognition that real action, real progress will only come about with planning. That it doesn't happen by accident, that communities are not built by accident, but great communities are built by planning, by engaging people all across the community in their hopes and their aspirations for the future. And Northern Kentucky, as you indicated, this is about the third or maybe fourth iteration of this planning process. That's right. And the success that we have inherited in that community is the product of those previous planning processes.
You know, in fact, there's a quote that I pulled out that I just want to put up, underlying belief. Okay, so it basically plays off of the same thing that you were just saying. Communities are intentional. They don't just happen. It's not by accident. And sometimes I think we think that that's the way things happen. They just sort of grow, but they don't.
That's right. And if they only happen by accident, there's a risk that only certain members of the community will benefit by the progress of the community. By having a planning process, by having an engaged planning process where people all across the community participate, you increase the possibility, the probability, that everyone will benefit from the plan.
Well, in fact, to pick that up, Sharlmili, there was this option, which you were on the show to talk about back in February, of how people could go online and do the game that you were just referencing. But there's lots of people, and there were meetings out in the community and whatever, but there's lots of people who don't do that. They don't go online. Maybe they don't have access. They don't come to public meetings because that's just not what they do. Was there any sort of proactive effort to get at voices that maybe would have been overlooked?
I think one thing that's definitely different in this campaign, Dan, is the use of social media to get the word out. Now, there were also power breakfasts with certain groups that we know are really invested and interested in seeing this process through. So we did that. You know, there were boards across the community for what people wanted MyNKY to be. So we were around. I mean, Vision 2015 staff did a great job in getting the word out and being around the community, you know, in the best way possible.
Okay.
And we tried to take the process out to the community. It was social media, as Sharlmili suggested, where so many people do have access, easy access to providing their input. But we were out at community events and at the wall that you referred to.
In fact, we got a little video of the wall because it really is kind of fun. Let's take a look at that.
I want my NKY to be optimistic.
I want my Northern Kentucky to be more empowered, because if you feel empowered, you can conquer the world.
I would like my city to be more sustainable. I would love more parks, more places to hang out outside.
I want to see young entrepreneurs staying in the region, being educated here, opening businesses here.
The best thing we can do for our community is work